How's it going, everyone? So welcome to the Nasty Civilian segment of Colorado Custom Leather and Blades. My name's Nate. I'm the guy behind the hammer and the anvil. I actually kind of like that intro. Anyway, this week is, like it says, the reality of self-defense tools. And this isn't going to be anything sexy. I'm just going to tell you this right now. I'm not going to show off a bunch of stuff. And I believe part of if you watch the video, what is Nasty Civilian? It's me. And I have an ethos, and one of those things is to add value and to share knowledge. I don't know everything, and honestly, when it comes to self-defense and the tools of self-defense, it's not the end-all be-all. Should be an open mind of whatever I can learn and continue learning. And if you are somebody that goes to a class and, oh, I didn't learn anything, I knew this, you need to find somebody and invest into what they know, because that's truly how you grow as an individual. I have my own personal disciplines of how I practice and train. I am going to be changing some things in this next year to go and outsource and have outsourced training, because I don't know everything and I want to learn as much as I possibly can because of this reality. I don't ever want to use the training that I have. Ever. I've moved on way past the sexy part of things and understood the reality of proper mag changes, overcoming function drills, stuff like that. It is not to look cool. This is the proper SOP, how you may try to do that to look cool at the range and you're a high-speed individual. What the reality is you don't get to pick the situation. You should never go and look for the fight. We're not at war, and until that day happens, we're not looking for the fight. We are trying to avoid it at all possibilities. But I'm going to talk about the tools that I have here and show them. But like if I have a stovepipe or something like that, I'm not going on the range to practice that to look cool anymore. I'm doing that because I want to be able to muscle memory a good habit in my brain to, as soon as I see that, I address it and I'm back in defending my life and other people's if that's the scenario. It's no longer to look cool. It is finding the proper SOPs and discipline that into an art. The right way of the firearm, the right way of the blade. It's not swinging a blade aimlessly without control. It's swinging the blade with intention of how to use that. And I need to step up on my blade training. But again, I do not want to use the training that I have because I have confidence if that situation will arise. And let me explain what this is, because this is mindset training. This is the first part of this. I don't want to use my training because the reality is I am not trying to be a high-speed individual. I'm not trying to be this, that, and the other thing. But the reality is that I'm going to get injured, but I'm hoping I can go home that day. Or I can go home after my hospital visit. I'm not naive to think I'm bulletproof. I'm not naive to think that a blade's not going to meet my blade. Or I can be choked out or unconscious or whatever. These are the realities of the scenario. You don't get to pick the situation. The situation you find yourself in is what you have to adapt to in a moment's instant. And if you don't have the mindset for that, that's where you need to start before you ever pick up a tool. Because you should want to learn situational awareness, how to avoid the fight and get away from the fight if it starts, before you have to use any of these tools. These tools, let me just show you what I'm talking about. So this is my self-defense knife. This is what I call the Pebble. It's a little brother to the Stone. It is a 3-inch blade, or 3.5-inch cutting edge, fast retention sheath. And this is a blade that I've made, and I have here my Springfield XDM that I'm going to be replacing with a Glock 19, and I'm doing some upgrading on this. And then I carry between a 11 and 13 round mag, and these are the tools that I carry for my life. And honestly, it's not out of paranoia. When I carry these, I have complete peace because I'm not looking for myself to find myself in an involvement. I'm trying to de-escalate, if anything, and then walk away. If you want to win the fight, you avoid the fight. These are last resort tools. These are, I have no choice but to defend my life. I have no choice but to defend this person's life. They are not de-escalating. This person's going to get severely injured, or my life is in true danger or great bodily harm. And it is truthfully that. It's not something I can just walk away from. they're actively coming at me and they have something in their hand that can kill me or harm me to the point where I will have consequences the rest of my life. Make sense? That's the reality of this. I don't want to find that day. I want to be able to have the confidence, though, that day finds me. So I break down when it comes to firearms training, and I'm going to talk about, you should carry these every day. You should, legally. Look at your state laws, do that stuff. I mean, I'm a big advocate in Second Amendment, but right now, when it comes to constitutional carry and stuff, not every single state will allow you to have a concealed carry, unless you have a permit and stuff like that. So follow the laws of the land, but when you can and you have the ability and you're not a felon, you're not a criminal or whatever, this is for the people that just want to live life. They're not looking for the threat. Okay? They're not looking for the scenario they never want to find themselves in. They're just going to the grocery store. They're going to church. They're going to wherever. They're going to work. They're putting productivity into their family. Carry these with you every day. Here's my challenge to you. If you've never carried a firearm, I want you to get a green pen. Okay? And the rules for this green pen are you only use that green pen when the document says green pens only. Likely you're never going to find that. This is a scenario and a theory that I have adopted that I'm going to start training people when I start teaching. But I want you to carry that green pen with you every single day, and I want you to start carrying your firearm with you in a holster in your house with a snap cap. It means it's not a live round. I want to count how many times you use that green pen in your house. Probably not. But then when you do graduate to carrying your firearm outside your house with ammo, with it chambered, carry that green pen. You're probably never going to use that green pen, and I pray you never have to use your firearm. It's the same thing with a knife. This is why I really encourage people to adopt the two-knife theory, your EDC, and then your self-defense tool. They should be separate. Here's the reason why. I want you to take your everyday carry that you say is your self-defense tool. I want you to get as sharp as you possibly can, and I want you to count how many times in a week that you use that knife. And not sharpen it, but one time. And then at the end of the week, I want you to test that sharpness. And if it has good edge retention, awesome. But if it doesn't, do you want to depend your life on that edge? That is why you have two separate blades. This never comes out of the sheath unless I'm maintaining it, seeing if it's oiled. I'm seeing if my sharpness is to my liking, and this is to where I can shave my arm with. That's how I want to keep this at all times. But with it being in a Kydex sheath and stuff, sometimes it'll bump against that Kydex, and that's why you always want to check your tools. It's like press checking. That's the only time that knife comes out. It's the only time it's used. This is going to be the number one knife that I use never. I didn't say that right. This is going to be the one knife that I've made, that I make for other people, that I pray they never have to use. But me individually, I can only speak on me, that I'll never use. And that's the way it should be. But it should be the most important knife that I have on me. Make sense? This firearm should be the number one tool that I train with the most, because I'm not carrying a rifle, although I'm disciplining myself on that as well. But I never have to use. But I have the confidence and the ability to do so if I find myself in one of those situations where this is the only option I got. Taking a life, defending your life are two very heavy things. Things that will stick with you the rest of your life. So when you think about self-defense tools, and this is not to scare you, this is to get you, maybe that fear is a healthy thing, honestly, because you can hone that fear into something more. Like me, I carry out of love and life. Love of people just so they can have life. Life is the most valuable thing we have. Time is the most valuable thing we have. And when evil individual cowards want to stop that, and it's not, they didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for that. I may not agree with you politically, but you have one thing in common with me, and that is we love the life that we have, or we're pursuing the life we want to love. And that's why I carry. That is my why. That is my I will live for and die for. So, what is yours? When it comes to that's really intense, that kind of makes me kind of hesitant of carrying, and that's good. Now hone that into something positive, not negative. Break your firearm, drawing from your holster, into a martial arts. One thing in closing here, I'll tell you what I've learned recently. I have stopped drawing from my holster, coming up and clicking. I have now drawn up my holster, founding my wall, stop. And then when I say threat, that's when I apply the rest of that pound pressure. Why? Because I don't get to pick the scenario or how the scenario unfolds as I'm moving. And that's another thing you should do, is move while you're practicing. Practice safely, guys, with a snap cap. Don't practice with anything live. And train with a purpose. Don't just do things aimlessly.